There's a human standing in the deadliest weapons market in the galaxy right now, and he's about to make every alien arms dealer rethink everything they know about warfare. Because what happens next will change the balance of power across 500 star systems. Most species in the Galactic Trade Federation think human weapons are jokes, primitive chemical explosives, ballistic projectiles, technology their ancestors abandoned 10,000 years ago. They laugh at our guns. They mock our military tactics. They call us the galaxy's most backward warrior race. But the truth behind this will shock you. Here's what nobody tells you about that day in the Terminus Station weapons bazaar. First, the alien who laughed the hardest was about to learn why humans are the only species banned from 3 separate arms conventions. Second, that demonstration everyone's talking about. It didn't just prove human weapons work. It revealed something about human warfare that terrifies every advanced civilization in the galaxy. And third, the real reason aliens fear our primitive guns has nothing to do with the technology itself. You're about to discover why the most advanced species in the universe choose energy weapons that can vaporize steel, why they think kinetic weapons are relics, and why one human with a simple request made an arms dealer who'd survived 6 interstellar wars go completely silent. This isn't just about guns. This is about the day the galaxy realized they'd been measuring lethality all wrong. The dealer's name was Vexthur, a Kralix merchant with 70 years of combat experience. He'd sold weapons to warlords, governments, and resistance fighters across the Orion Arm. He'd seen plasma rifles that could punch through battleship armor, antimatter grenades that erase city blocks, molecular disruptors that turn living beings into dust. Thought he'd seen everything. The human walking into his shop was named David Chen, former Marine, current freelance security contractor, and he was shopping for something that could keep him alive in the frontier wars. What happened in the next 30 minutes would become legend. Let me show you exactly how this happened. Terminus Station orbits a neutron star in neutral space. No government controls it. No military patrols it. It's where the galaxy's gray markets operate openly. Weapons, information, experimental tech that's illegal in civilized systems. Every species trades here. The Kralix with their bioengineered combat beasts. The Synthers with their self-replicating drones. The Thorn Collective with neural disruptors that turn enemies into drooling vegetables. If it can kill, someone's selling it on Terminus. David had arrived 2 days earlier. His contract was simple: protect a mining operation in the contested zone, the area between human space and the Vrala Empire, where pirates raid settlements and corporate militias fight over asteroid rights. He needed equipment, good equipment. Most humans who come to Terminus buy alien tech. It makes sense. Why use a rifle when you can have a plasma caster? Oh. Why carry bullets when you can fire coherent light that never runs out? Oh. But David had different ideas. Vexthur's shop occupied a corner of the main bazaar. His storefront displayed the finest weapons from 24 species, particle beams that could slag tank armor, graviton projectors that crushed internal organs without leaving marks, sonic weapons that liquefied flesh through resonance. The Kralix himself stood 3 meters tall, 4 arms, exoskeleton plates covering gray skin, eyes like black glass. He'd fought in the Dissolution Wars, survived the Plague Fleets, earned 17 combat citations from the Trade Federation. He knew weapons. Knew violence. He knew death. David walked in carrying a duffel bag. Vexthur's translator clicked. Human. You want protection for frontier work, yes? I have excellent plasma repeaters. Military surplus from the Threshold campaign. Very reliable. Very deadly. David shook his head. I'm looking for something specific. Energy weapons are standard. Vexthur continued. Clean. Efficient. Never jam. Your human firearms are outdated. Chemical propellants. Mechanical actions. They belong in museums. Other customers started gathering. A Cynthian engineer. Oh. 2 Thorn mercenaries. A Velix pilot. Word spread fast when humans came shopping. It was always entertaining, watching them try to explain why they still used primitive technology. David set his duffel on the counter. I appreciate the advice, but I'm actually here to buy ammunition. Vexthor's mandibles clicked. Oh. Laughter. Ammunition. You want to use kinetic weapons in active combat zones. That's right. Human firearms are antiques. Slow projectiles. Limited range. Oh. Vulnerable to countermeasures. Any species with basic shield technology can stop bullets. David nodded slowly. I've heard that before. Then why waste credits on inferior technology? The crowd grew larger. This was better than expected. A human defending primitive weapons against a legendary arms dealer. Now here's where things get really interesting. David unzipped his duffel bag. Inside were 3 weapons. Not alien tech, not plasma rifles or particle beams, just human firearms. Old Earth designs, mechanical, simple. He pulled out the first one. This is an M4 carbine. Fires 5.56 mm rounds. Chemical propellant, about 950 meters per second. Vexthor leaned forward. Yes, I know human weapons. Crude projectiles. Why show me this? Because you said any species with basic shields can stop bullets. Correct. Energy barriers. Deflect kinetic impacts easily. Your weapons are useless against modern defenses. David's expression didn't change. Want to test that? The Krelix paused. His mandibles twitched. Test. You've got demo areas in the back. Right. For customers who want to see weapons perform. Let's run a comparison. Vexthor's 4 arms crossed. You want to demonstrate that human guns work? I want to demonstrate something more interesting. The crowd pressed closer. This was unprecedented. Humans didn't challenge demonstrations. They knew their weapons were inferior. Everyone knew, but something in David's tone made Vexthor curious. 70 years of combat experience taught you to recognize confidence. Real confidence, not bravado. This human wasn't posturing. Very well, Vexthor said. Let's see what your primitive weapons can do. They moved to the demonstration chamber. A reinforced room with target ranges and testing barriers. Vexthor set up standard defense shields, the kind used by most infantry units across the galaxy. These barriers stop energy weapons up to Class 4, he explained. Kinetic projectiles bounce off. Watch. He fired a projectile launcher at the shield. A small metal slug hit the barrier and deflected harmlessly. Now your turn, human. David loaded his M4, 30 rounds, standard magazine. He aimed at the barrier, then he fired. Not one shot. A burst 5 rounds in less than 2 seconds. The first bullet hit the shield. Stopped. The second hit the same spot. Stopped. The third hit that exact point again. And the fourth. And the fifth. The shield flickered, then failed. The 6th bullet punched through empty space, hit the target behind, dead center. Vexthor's eyes widened. Here's what you don't understand about human weapons, David said. You're right. Shields stop individual bullets, but shields need time to reset. Milliseconds. We fire faster than shields can recover. He reloaded. Your energy weapons hit hard. One shot. Big impact. Shields absorb it. Spread the energy. System resets. Next shot gets blocked too. Another burst. Another shield failure. But we don't fire one shot. We fire 30, 40, 60 rounds per minute. We put bullets on the same point faster than any shield can regenerate. We don't try to overpower the defense. We overwhelm it. The crowd went silent. Vexthor had sold weapons for 7 decades. He'd never considered this. Energy weapons were superior, because each shot carried more power. That was the standard measurement. Power per shot. But humans didn't measure that way. They measured power over time. Sustained fire. Volume. Not how hard you hit. How many times you hit. It's called suppressive fire, David continued. We invented it on Earth. Back when we only fought each other, we learned that constant pressure beats single powerful strikes. He pulled out his second weapon. That's just rifles. Wait until you see what else we brought to the galaxy. But if you think that's crazy, wait until you hear this. The second weapon David pulled out looked deceptively simple. A long tube with a grip and a sight. Olive drab paint, scratched and worn. This is an M72 LLO, light anti-tank weapon. We've been using these since the 1960s on Earth. Vexthor's translator clicked with confusion. A rocket launcher. We have plasma mortars that, not a rocket. A recoilless rifle, fires a shaped charge, uses something called the Monroe effect. The Kralix's mandibles twitched. I don't know this term. That's the second thing about human weapons. We don't just shoot at targets. We understand materials, chemistry, physics at the practical level. David gestured to the demonstration targets. Set up your best armor. Whatever stops your plasma rifles. Vexthor selected thorium composite plating. The same armor used on heavy assault mechs. It could withstand direct hits from Class 5 energy weapons. The material absorbed thermal energy and dispersed it across its molecular structure. This armor is rated for extreme temperatures, Vexthor said. Your chemical explosives won't. The UALO fired. The shaped charge hit the armor, but it didn't explode outward like normal explosives. The blast focused into a jet, a stream of molten copper traveling at over 7 kilometers per second. It punched through the thorium plate like it was paper. Vexthor stared at the hole. Perfect circle, melted edges, complete penetration. Shaped charges don't work like energy weapons. David explained. Energy weapons heat up armor. Try to vaporize it. Takes a lot of power. The armor's designed to handle that. He pointed at the hole. But this is a kinetic penetrator. Molten metal moving faster than your shields can track. It doesn't heat the whole plate. Just punches through before the material can react. The crowd pressed forward. The Scythian engineer was recording data. The Thorn mercenaries exchanged clicks in their language. We figured this out fighting our own tanks. David continued. Back on Earth, we couldn't build energy weapons, so we got creative. We learned to use physics, chemistry, material science. He pulled out ammunition for his rifle. Look at these rounds. He held up different bullets. This one is armor-piercing. Tungsten core, designed to penetrate heavy materials. This one is hollow point, expands on impact. Maximum tissue damage. This one is incendiary, burns at 2200 degrees. Vexthor's forearms uncrossed slowly. You have different ammunition for different targets. Every target needs a different approach. Armor needs penetration. Unarmored targets need expansion. Vehicles need fire. We don't have one-size-fits-all energy beams. We have specialized tools. This was something the galaxy didn't understand. Advanced species created weapons that did everything adequately. Versatile, reliable, standard. Humans created weapons that did one thing perfectly. Then they carried multiple weapons. Your plasma rifle works on everything, David said. Armor, flesh, vehicles, that's good. But it's not optimized for anything. It's compromised technology. He loaded armor-piercing rounds. Our weapons are specialized. This round goes through armor. This one tears flesh. This one starts fires. We choose the right tool for each job. Vexthor's mind raced. This changed everything he knew about human combat doctrine. They didn't have inferior technology. They had focused technology. There's more, David said. These weapons are simple, mechanical. You know what that means. The Kralix waited. It means I can fix them with basic tools. Your plasma rifle breaks. You need a Scythian engineer, replacement power cells, specialized equipment. My rifle breaks. I need a cleaning rod and some oil. David Field stripped his M4, took it apart in 20 seconds. Any human soldier can do this. In the dark, under fire, we can maintain our weapons anywhere. No specialized facilities, no rare materials. He reassembled it. Your weapons are more powerful, but ours are more practical. We can fight anywhere, fix anything, adapt to any situation. The Scythian engineer spoke for the first time. This is why humans win asymmetric engagements. Everyone turned. Human mercenaries have 73% survival rates in frontier conflicts. Galactic average is 34%. We thought it was tactics, but it's this: reliability, adaptability, practical engineering. This brings us to the most shocking discovery of all. Vexto stood silent for a long moment. His 70 years of combat experience were being rewritten. But there was one question left. If your weapons are so effective, he said slowly, why does the galaxy consider humans primitive? David smiled. Because we are primitive. That's the point. He picked up his third weapon, something the crowd hadn't seen yet. Older than the others, wood and metal, simple construction. This is a Mosin Nagant bolt-action rifle, designed in 1891, over 400 years old by Earth time. He loaded 5 rounds. This weapon fought in 2 world wars, dozens of smaller conflicts. It's still in use today, across human space, in militias, resistance groups, frontier settlements. He worked the bolt, smooth action. You know how old your plasma rifle design is? Vextor checked his inventory data. This model, 17 years. The previous generation was used for 40. 40 years is ancient for you. This rifle is 4 centuries old, and still killing effectively. The weight of that statement settled over the room. Here's what terrifies advanced species about humans. David continued. You advance, you improve, you chase better technology constantly. It's progress, it's evolution, it's how civilizations grow. He aimed at a target. But progress creates dependencies. Your weapons need power cells, rare elements, specialized facilities, supply chains across star systems. If those break down, you're unarmed. He fired. The Mosin Nagant cracked. Old-fashioned chemical propellant. The target shattered. Our weapons need metal and chemistry. That's it. Any planet with an industrial base can make bullets. Any forge can produce barrels. We can fight forever, because we never depend on complex supply chains. David worked the bolt again. You want to know why the Trade Federation banned humans from arms conventions? Not because our weapons are too powerful, because they're too simple, too easy to make, too impossible to control. Vextor's mandibles clicked nervously. I don't understand. Every war in galactic history ends when supply lines break, when shipments stop, when facilities get destroyed. Energy weapons need constant support. Lose that support and your military collapses. David tapped his rifle. But humans, we'll make bullets in basement workshops. We'll cast barrels in frontier foundries. You can't stop human weapons by cutting supply chains. Because we don't have supply chains, we have knowledge. And knowledge spreads. The Thorn mercenaries shifted uneasily. They understood now. This wasn't about weapon superiority. This was about something far more dangerous. Persistence. The Vral Empire learned this the hard way, David said. They invaded the Kepler colonies, cut off all supply routes, figured humans would run out of ammunition in 6 months. You know what happened? Silence. The colonists started making their own gunpowder, casting their own bullets, building their own rifles from mining equipment. The Vral expected surrender. They got 40 years of guerrilla warfare. Eventually they withdrew, not because they lost militarily, because they couldn't break human weapons production. David set down the Mosin Nagant. Every species in this galaxy can be disarmed, cut their factories, blockade their supply ships, wait them out. But humans will fight with weapons our ancestors invented centuries ago, and will still win. Vextor finally understood why the demonstration mattered. This wasn't about proving human weapons worked. It was about showing why they were terrifying. Not because they were powerful, because they were eternal. There's a saying in human military history. David said quietly. Amateurs study tactics. Professionals study logistics. We studied both for 10,000 years, while fighting each other, before we ever reached the stars. He gestured at his weapons. This isn't primitive technology. This is perfected technology. We spent millennia refining these tools, making them simpler, more reliable, more independent. We solved every problem, answered every question. The Cynthian engineer checked his records again. There are 47 billion firearms in human space, for a population of 6 billion. That's right, David confirmed. We have more guns than people, and every single one will keep working for centuries. No maintenance required, no supply chains needed, just metal and chemistry. So what does all this mean for us today? The demonstration ended, but the implications were just beginning. Vextor looked at his inventory wall. Thousands of advanced weapons, plasma rifles, particle beams, molecular disruptors, each one powerful, each one dependent on energy cells, on rare materials, on manufacturing facilities light years away. David's words echoed. You can't stop what's already everywhere. This is the reality facing the galaxy now. Human weapons are spreading, not because they're being sold, because they're being copied, built, manufactured on thousands of worlds by species who see the advantage. The Trade Federation tried to stop it. They banned human firearms from 12 systems, prohibited ammunition sales in regulated space, created strict penalties for possession. None of it worked, because you can't ban knowledge, and human weapons are just applied knowledge, basic chemistry, simple mechanics, principles any industrial civilization can replicate. The Velix Concordat discovered this 2 years ago. They fought a human mercenary company in the outer reaches, defeated them, captured their equipment, studied it. Within 6 months, Velix resistance groups were building their own copies. The Concordat government tried to crack down, raided workshops, arrested manufacturers, but the designs kept spreading, because they were too simple to stop. This is what advanced species fear most. Not that human weapons are better, that they're democratic. Anyone can make them. Anyone can use them. There's no monopoly on violence when the tools are this accessible. Vextor understood now why his most dangerous customers were asking about human firearms, not human mercenaries, other species, rebels, resistance movements, groups that couldn't access advanced weapons. They didn't need plasma rifles. They needed weapons they could build themselves, maintain themselves, use forever. And human designs gave them exactly that. This changes the balance of power. The Cynthian engineer said, advanced militaries lose their advantage when everyone can arm themselves equally. David nodded. That's the lesson from Earth. For thousands of years, warfare was about who had better equipment, better swords, better armor, better castles. Then guns equalized everything. A farmer with a rifle could kill a knight in plate armor. Technology became democratic. He gestured at the galaxy beyond the station. Now that's spreading out here. Every oppressed species, every resistance group, every colony that can't buy military-grade weapons. They're all learning. They can build their own. This was the real revelation. Not that human weapons worked. That human weapons could be everywhere. The implications rippled outward. Governments that maintained power through military superiority were nervous, because superiority requires exclusive access. When weapons technology is simple enough for anyone to replicate, monopolies collapse. The Trade Federation had seen this pattern before. The Thorn Collective used to dominate. Through neural disruptors, expensive, complex, only they could manufacture them. Then the technology leaked. Now 12 species produce them. But those were still complex weapons, still required rare materials, still needed specialized knowledge. Human firearms required iron and chemistry, resources literally every industrial planet possessed. How do you control this? Vextor asked. How do humans prevent their weapons from spreading? David's expression was neutral. We don't. That's not how we think. On Earth, weapons spread freely. Every nation has gun industries. Most civilians own firearms. We accepted long ago that we can't control the technology, so we focus on other things. Like what? Training, discipline, rules of engagement. We don't try to monopolize tools. We build cultures around responsible use. The Kralix's mandibles clicked slowly. This was a fundamentally different philosophy. Most species restricted weapons to maintain order. Humans accepted proliferation and adapted. The galaxy is going to have to choose, David said. Try to ban human weapons and fail, or accept they're here, and figure out how to coexist with them. He packed his firearms back into the duffel. Either way, the technology isn't going away. It's been around for 1,000 years. It'll be around for 1,000 more. Before we wrap up, there's one final thing you need to know. Vextor made a decision. He'd been an arms dealer for 7 decades, fought in 6 wars, survived the dissolution. He knew value when he saw it. "I want to buy from you," he said. "Not sell to you. I want to purchase human weapon designs." David raised an eyebrow. "Why?" "Because you're right. Everything you said is correct. And I've been selling the wrong products." The crowd listened intently. "Advanced weapons have their place," Vextor continued. "Military forces, elite units, specialized operations. But there's a larger market I've ignored. Frontier colonists, independent contractors, resistance groups, species that can't access high-end technology." He gestured at David's weapons. "They need what you have: reliability, simplicity, independence. I can provide that." David considered this. "You understand what you're really selling? I'm selling freedom from dependency, from supply chains, from technological monopolies. That's going to make you enemies, powerful enemies. Governments don't like armed populations." Vextor's mandibles spread in what might have been a smile. "I've had powerful enemies before. I survived the dissolution wars. I can handle political pressure." They negotiated for the next hour. Design specifications, manufacturing processes, distribution networks. By the time they finished, Vextor had purchased licensing rights to 17 different human firearm patterns. But there was one last thing. "Why did you really come here?" Vextor asked. "You could have bought ammunition anywhere. Why demonstrate to me specifically?" David's expression shifted slightly. "Because you have a reputation. Fair dealer, good judgment, survived wars that killed billions. If I could convince you, word would spread. You wanted me to become an advocate. I wanted someone the galaxy respects to understand what human weapons really represent. Not primitive technology, persistent technology. The kind that survives wars, blockades, and collapsed supply chains." Vextor understood. This hadn't been about a sale. It had been about changing perception. And it worked. Within days, word spread through Terminus Station. The legendary Kralix arms dealer who'd survived the dissolution wars was now selling human weapon designs. That meant something. It meant human firearms were legitimate. Other dealers followed. Then manufacturers. Then military contractors. Human weapons started appearing in conflicts across the frontier. Not because humans were selling them aggressively. Because everyone else was copying them. The Trade Federation convened emergency sessions, discussed regulations, debated restrictions, but they were trying to contain knowledge that was already everywhere. "Why, you can't uninvent simple technology." David completed his contract in the contested zone. His simple firearms kept him alive through 18 separate engagements. The mining operation he protected survived. His reputation grew. He became one of hundreds of human contractors spreading practical weapons knowledge across the galaxy. Not through sales, through demonstration. Every conflict they survived proved the point. Every engagement they won with old-fashioned rifles and bullets showed other species that complexity wasn't always better. Sometimes simple was superior. The galaxy is still adjusting to this reality. Advanced civilizations are learning that technological superiority isn't permanent. That knowledge once spread can't be recalled. And that humans brought something to the stars that can't be easily countered. Not super weapons. Not incredible firepower. Just the practical engineering of species that spent 10,000 years perfecting the art of killing each other efficiently. If this opened your eyes to how humans changed galactic warfare, you need to understand what happened next. Let's recap what we just discovered. Human weapons aren't primitive. They're perfected. They're designed to work anywhere forever, without complex supply chains. Second, the galaxy fears human firearms not because they're powerful, but because they're impossible to control. The technology is too simple to monopolize. And third, one demonstration by a human contractor changed how an entire industry views warfare, because sometimes showing is more effective than telling. This story represents something bigger happening right now across human space. We're spreading into the galaxy not through superior technology, but through practical engineering. Other species have weapons that hit harder, but we have weapons that never stop working. That's the advantage nobody saw coming. If you found this fascinating, you need to hit that subscribe button right now, because this isn't the only time humans shock the galaxy with their practical approach. There are dozens of stories about how our supposedly primitive methods outperform advanced alien technology, and I'm covering all of them. Next video I'm revealing what happened when humans introduced close-quarters combat to species that had been fighting at range for millennia. It's brutal, it's shocking, and it completely changed how the galaxy trains its soldiers. You don't want to miss it. Hit the like button if this changed how you think about human military technology. Drop a comment and tell me if you were in David's position, what human weapon would you have demonstrated? An M2 Browning machine gun, an RPG, or maybe something more unconventional like a crossbow or a compound bow. I want to know what you think would shock aliens the most. Here's the thing about these stories. They're not just science fiction. They're thought experiments about human ingenuity, about how we solve problems differently than everyone else. We don't always have the best tools, but we're incredibly good at using the tools we have. That's what makes humans dangerous in any setting. Not raw power, adaptability. And if you want to go deeper into this topic, I've created something special, a complete breakdown of human military technology compared to theoretical alien weapons systems. It covers everything from infantry rifles to orbital strike platforms, the engineering, the tactics, the strategic implications. It's available to channel members. Join the community, get access to exclusive content, and support the creation of more videos like this one. Because here's what I promise you. Every video on this channel will teach you something new about human capability, about our engineering, our tactics, our mindset, the things that make us unique in any universe, real or fictional. We're not the strongest species, we're not the smartest, we're not the most advanced, but we're the most persistent, and persistence wins wars. So subscribe now, turn on notifications, join a community of people who love exploring what makes humanity special. We're just getting started with these stories. The galaxy learned an important lesson that day in Vexther's shop. Simple doesn't mean weak, old doesn't mean obsolete. And humans don't need fancy technology to be dangerous. We just need to understand the fundamentals. Physics, chemistry, engineering, the basics that every advanced species forgot while chasing the next innovation. That's our advantage. We remember where we came from. We keep what works, and we never stop improving it. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one. And remember, when aliens laugh at human weapons, they're about to learn a very expensive lesson.